Okay, guys, today we're going to be talking and exploring and investigating the haunted Molly Brown house, which was home to Margaret Brown, who survived the RMS Titanic. Before I talk about the house, I just want to talk about Margaret a bit because she's just quite interesting. So she was born in Missouri in 1867, Missouri, the US of A. She was actually born though to Irish Catholic immigrants, John and Joanna Tobin. She is two half siblings and four siblings because surprisingly enough her parents were actually in previous marriages and both those spouses had passed away engaging in the marriage that created Margaret, which is quite early for the time. 1867, you know um I thought that because like divorce wasn't not legal in Ireland in 1995, so anyway it surprised me. So she had the two half siblings and four siblings. She just has quite an interesting life. So she met and married James Joseph Brown, who they nicknamed JJ, and his nickname was JJ, and they had two kids together. James Joseph Brown, or JJ, was not rich when they met. He was self-educated when they married. Her family was neither wealthy either, and she grew up somewhat modestly. She worked as a teenager, apparently, in a tobacco factory as well. So JJ owned a mining company, JJ's mining company, and they literally struck gold, which acquired a lot of wealth for JJ and Margaret themselves. So then they acquired the 30,000 Victorian mansion in Denver, now known as the Molly Brown House. Margaret really went into this socialite philanthropist role. She was an advocate for women's suffrage and she worked to help improve the conditions of miners. She helped in the mines and the kitchens, apparently, and tried to make herself included in politics and became more educated in the arts, and she became fluent in four languages: French, German, Italian, and Russian. She also worked with John Ben Lindsay to help destitute children and establish one of the United States' first juvenile courts. So apparently the story goes that JJ was not interested in the social life that Margaret herself enjoyed, and after 23 years of marriage they privately signed a separation agreement in 1909. She received $700 monthly allowance, which is equivalent to $23,000 today, to continue her travels and political work. So Margaret goes and she visits her daughter in France, which you'd imagine that she's going for like a long enough amount of time, seeing as travel in 1912 wasn't specifically the easiest. Apparently her grandchild back home was sick in America, so she wanted to get home. So she boarded the RMS Titanic in 1912 in Cherbourg in France as a first-class passenger. So Margaret left France as a first-class passenger on the RMS Titanic, and we all know what happened to the RMS Titanic. It began to sink and she survived the ship's sinking, getting off on a lifeboat. She is known for her efforts apparently in helping others during the sinking, and I think she's portrayed in the movie as the woman in the lifeboat who wants the lifeboat to return to help the other passengers after she continued her activism and her work, and she died then in October 26, 1932. So the Molly Brown house has opened as a museum after her death, and a lot of the museum workers and people who visit claim that the house is haunted. So after the death of Molly Brown, other people did own the home before it became a museum. Apparently the home is rumoured to be a house for troubled girls, a private home, and an apartment building for young men for a time. People speculate that they've seen different ghosts roaming the hallways, that many speculate are past guests of the home. Apparently the employees of the museum have claimed to smell smoke, specifically pipe smoke, which would be related to JJ Brown. They've seen a woman in a Victorian gown wandering around, apparently moving furniture, who looks apparently like Margaret Margaret Brown, apologies, and the dress that she would have worn at the time. People have claimed to have cold spots in different areas and actually have just seen Molly Brown herself and JJ Brown and other family members. There honestly wasn't many stories I could find in the house other than general movement of furniture, apparently lights, bulbs undoing themselves suddenly and furniture moving, and the woman in a Victorian dress, and apparently other ghostly figures roaming around the house. But you know, if you like the video, it's just a beautiful house. When I saw it, I was like, I'm building that, and the ghost aspect, or at least some sort of haunted aspect, at least gives some story as I'm building the house. So if you liked it, please leave a comment, or any suggestions or feedback or anything's welcome, or leave a like. That would definitely be appreciated. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the build. It was really fun to build, and I actually, going back to, let's say, talking about Sims and building, that like I'm definitely going to try do a few houses in this style, because if you look at the bottom layer, it's just an extra story of the house, but it kind of looks like a basement, and I feel like if you put a few of these houses together, you'd easily make kind of a block of houses or a row of houses that look like they have basements, and you could kind of have this above ground basement feel if you mess with some terrain as well. So if you had no interest in the story, then at least if you stayed to the end and heard about the building, that's great. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, please leave a like or a comment or subscribe or whatever, and I will make more. I have one or two more already sitting on my laptop, and I really just wanted to get this episode out, so that's why maybe the speaking is a bit fuzzy at the start, because I just try to record it all in kind of more one shot to make it sound a bit better. But anyway, have a lovely day, and yeah, I hope you enjoy. Bye.